Hi, welcome to the course on Is Your Business Funding Ready? Through this course, I'm going to help you find out if you are indeed ready to raise capital. Founders often ask me, is this the right time for me to raise funds? I'm going to share with you the advice that I give them. Capital raising is not just about timing, stage, or sector. It has a lot to do with the intrinsic elements of a business that investors typically look for. These elements include scalability, value proposition, the kind of moats that you are building, and more. Evaluating your business for these elements will answer the question of whether you are ready to raise capital. Now, we have created a tool to help you gauge your funding readiness based on 8 parameters. These 8 parameters are on every investor's evaluation radar. Throughout this course, I will explain how to use this tool, and together we will evaluate your company's funding readiness. So let's dive right into it. We will take you through the funding matrix to help you evaluate your funding readiness. The funding matrix has 8 building blocks. We will see each one of them. The first block is the team block. In the case of early stage ventures, the investor primarily bets on the jockey. The horse is the product and the founder is the jockey. Business models will pivot. Markets will go through a change. Products will undergo several iterations. What stays is the core founding team. Evaluating the founding team becomes extremely important for the investors. The execution ability of the founders, coupled with relevant experience, is extremely critical. Building a core team with complementary skill sets should be the founder's priority. Example: Option 1, 3 founders, all engineers, all experts in product development. Option 2, 3 founders, one with a solid background in product development, second with expertise in sales, and third with experience in operations and finance. Which option would you choose? Obviously, it is option 2. Pause the video here and fill the first building block by putting down the details of your core team, their experience, and their background. The second block is scalable business model. VCs look for scalable business models. What do we mean by that? We need to look at this term scalability from the lens of capital. Suppose to make revenue of 50 lakhs, you had to invest 10 lakhs of capital. As time passes, you should be able to make a revenue of 1 crore for the same capital investment. Let's look at an example. Consider the business of shopping malls. To create a mall, you will have to lease land, physically construct the mall, and attract tenants. All of this requires, say, 10 crores of investment. After a couple of years, the mall starts making an annual revenue of 100 crores. As the owner of this mall company, if you have to double your revenue to 200 crores, what will you have to do? Simple. You will need to go through the entire cycle of leasing land, constructing infrastructure, etc., which will require another 10 crores of capital infusion. So for every 100 crores of incremental revenue, you will require a capital infusion of 10 crores. As per VCs, the traditional malls business is not scalable. Now consider e-commerce. By building an online platform and forming partnerships with brands, logistics service providers, and warehouses, you can service the entire country, or rather the entire world. E-commerce was a darling of VCs because of the scalability angle. Pure tech or tech-enabled business models play a pivotal role in making your business scalable. Is your business scalable? Pause the video here and write down core elements of your venture that makes it scalable. The next building block is value proposition. Value proposition is just a fancy term used to define the end benefit that your product or service is offering to your customer. What is the customer pain point that you are solving, and how severe is that pain point? Consider the nationwide lockdown during the pandemic. None of us could make it to the office. Thanks to Zoom, we were able to continue working remotely from home and meet people. Zoom addressed the pain point of not being able to step out for a meeting, and the value proposition was connecting with team members within the safety of your homes. VCs generally prefer business models which are solving a large and a severe pain point of customers. Pause the video here and write down the pain points that you're solving for your customers and the value that you're offering to them. The next building block is proof of concept. Ideas don't fetch you funding, execution does. Ideas translate into products, and products translate into businesses with revenue. Investor wants to see if your product has found customer validation and traction. Investors do not invest on the basis of an idea or a paper plan. Without proof of concept, the probability of funding is very low. Even Flipkart did not raise its first funding round without any traction. Flipkart first chose to sell books online and test if Indian customers were buying books online. Only after testing the success of the e-commerce model for books did Flipkart raise its first round of capital from prominent VCs. The proof of concept block focuses on the key metrics that define your traction. Pause the video here and fill the box with the traction that you have achieved. We will now look at the next block, the monetization model. How will your business make money? Do you sell subscriptions or do you charge a commission? What is your revenue model? Along with this, unit economics is also on investor radar. What are the margins that you are making on every unit of sale? Pause the video here and fill in the details of your monetization model. Moving on to the next building block, the market size. There are so many pitch decks that claim a 5 billion or a 10 billion market size. But where do these figures come from? You obviously need to justify these figures. How do you go about calculating the market size, especially for a business model which is relatively new, where no consulting firm has yet published any report? Let's take the case of the freight company, which can be considered as the Make My Trip for booking trucks for shipment of goods. The logic for calculation of market size for this business is very interesting. There are 50 lakh trucks in the country, and these trucks are doing 12 crore truck trips annually. Now let's assume that the average cost of hiring a truck is 30,000 rupees. The freight company earns a commission of 2%, which is 600 rupees on every successful truck trip. Now imagine if all the truck trips in the country are booked on the freight company platform. Then the total annual revenue pool opportunity will be 7,200 crores. Can the company take 10% of the market share? If it does, it will be a 720 crore top line company. Why is market size so important for investors? Because a small market would mean potential to create a small business. The larger the market, the bigger can be the business. Pause the video here. Think of the logic for calculating market size for your business and put the logic along with the numbers in this block. The most difficult block on the matrix is the modes block. How difficult is it for a group of engineers to create a food delivery app? It can be done within months. But what is difficult is creating network effects and the scale that Zomato has achieved today. Smaller startups end up losing to the incumbents. Investors fear backing startups that are operating in a sector where there are large players backed by deep-pocketed investors. Moats prevent your competitors from displacing you. It can be your technology, scale, etc. Pause the video here and fill in your moats block. If you currently don't have any, it is perfectly okay to keep it blank. Now, the last block, exit. Why do investors invest in a business? Returns. And returns can be a reality only if there is a profitable exit. During your pitch, be prepared for this question from investors. How will you give us an exit? Your angel investors can get an exit in the subsequent rounds of funding. Your business can become a great fitment for a large strategic player who can eventually acquire you. You can also reach a massive scale and take your company public. From an exit perspective, while things might not turn out exactly the way you've planned, it is still important to be prepared to answer this question. How will you give us an exit? Pause the video here and fill in your exit block. The funding matrix is now complete. So now what is the outcome of this exercise? First, in a snapshot, you get to know your company's strengths and weaknesses. For example, if your team box is empty, you need to put together a core team before approaching the investors. Second, you can discuss this matrix with your prospective investors and mentors and get their feedback. Quite often, investors expect a higher traction. You may have 100 paid users, but your investors expect 1,000. You will have to work to achieve this target to get the investment. I hope this exercise has helped you determine if your business is funding ready. Now that you know what it takes to raise funds, the next step is to create a business plan. This is what we will help you with in our next course on how to create a pitch deck. We look forward to seeing you soon.